Vincent, turn your light on.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, good. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody. Having a little bit of directional issue where I got to make sure the lights are on, camera, everything. I'm Harper LeBel. Along with me is our host and founder, Vincent Turner. This is Inside the Draft Prospect Show here on 100 Yards of Football. We want to look at 2 or 3 guys every week going up to the draft to find the person that may be a new member of your favorite football team. We're going to talk about 3 other picks today. We're going to look at the following 3: Kelvin Banks, Abdul Carter, and Michael Williams. Michael is a Georgia Bulldog, so everyone here in the state of Georgia will want to hear what we have to say about this young man. But Vincent, let's start with Kelvin Banks. He's an offensive tackle. He's out of the University of Texas, and if you want a big old Texas road runner, we're going to find one right here. He's 6'4". He's 325 pounds. Not only is he big, but he's very athletic. Last year, he was first team All Big 12. He was a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award. He was second team All Big 12 back in 2022, 2 years ago. He's eligible for the draft this year. And who wouldn't want to have this young man in their lineup?
A lot of people are saying he's the best offensive tackle right now in the 2025 NFL draft. A very experienced football player, started every game, started day one from his freshman year at Texas. And then when you're looking at him, he's out of the Houston area, where Texas goes in there and gets a lot of quality football players. But think about all the great offensive linemen that's played at Texas. Leonard Davis, Jerry Sidemore, Derek Dockery. A gentleman that played here locally, where we broadcasted from in the metro Atlanta area, Justin Blaylock, was a pretty good player for the Falcons over several years. But people are saying that he's got everything you need to have to play left tackle at the next level. Athletic, outstanding blocker, got great physical tools. And the one thing they like about him, he can anchor along the offensive line. And a lot of people are saying his comparisons to the big young man that came out of UCLA by the name of Jonathan Ogden, who's a Hall of Famer. Back to you, Hall.
Yeah, the Big O was something else now. But he was 6'7". And with his throw, he had some hair on him now. He looked like he was 7 feet tall. That guy was amazing. Big, solid, strong, great feet. That's the one thing about this young man that I like most, is that he's athletic and he has good ability to expand the amount of space that a defensive end has to go around him. If there's a speed rusher, for example, and that happened in the Georgia game when Texas played Georgia a little bit earlier, it'll be interesting to see how he rebounds from that and how he uses his speed and quickness to get to the spot to protect his quarterback. One of his weaknesses is his upper body strength. They're saying, yeah, he could be a little bit stronger. You know, at 325, let's say that he's got a little bit of baby fat on him. If he goes down to 310, maybe 315, but gets a little bit stronger and adds some muscle to it, he's going to be unstoppable because he's strong, he's athletic, his lateral ability is great. He's a very good run blocker. He's versatile in that he can do both well. A little bit of improvement here and there, not much, but he's already a guy that is way up on the charts, as you mentioned, Vincent. If I'm a University of Texas alum, I'm happy that we were able to get him in the first place and to keep him and to block for my man Quinn Ewers as well as he does, or Arch Manning. And going into the playoff here, you got to have a great offensive line, and this guy is certainly a part of it. He should be a draft day, first day guy. We don't know that yet, but he definitely has the ability to make some things happen. Don't have any stats on offensive lineman, but again, he's 6'4", he's 325, All Big 12 last year, and the year before he was second team All Big 12. Vincent, this is a guy, again, if you're picking linemen, he's way up at the top of the chart, and you want to start with a tackle. For him to be in the position that he is, he should be a first-day draft pick.
But you brought up a good point. Let's go back to October the 19th against Georgia. He didn't have a good game. Matter of fact, Jalen Walker, the outside linebacker from Georgia, worked him. 3 sacks. So he's coming to Atlanta this weekend, playing in the SEC championship game. It's going to be money, house money in the house. I don't know how many NFL scouts, because it's going to be plenty. You got to think that he's going to be wanting to get revenge. Back to you, Mr. Harper LeBel.
We'll get to see they go face to face against one another again. And who rebounds better? Will it be the Georgia defensive ends and the tackles, or will it be the offensive linemen there from the University of Texas? That was certainly one of the strong points that Texas had going into that game. And everybody was kind of scratching their head a little bit afterwards. Maybe we aren't as good. But if they can rebound from that and anticipate what Georgia's going to do, good for them. I think Georgia's going to come up with something different that they're going to have in terms of a scheme. Let's go with our other pass rush. If we don't want to bull rush you, but we want to go around you, well, now we're going to make it look like we're going to go around you, and then we're going to bull rush you. So cat and mouse. It's going to be very interesting. But on the other end of that relationship in the game, this with Michael Williams, a defensive lineman there from the University of Georgia. He's 6'5", 265. He was all SEC second team last year, but this year it looks like it'll be a little bit different. He may end up being a first teamer. He's a five-star athlete, Vincent. He was second team all last year. He's got 17 tackles right now, 3 sacks for a minus 33 yards on those. He has 1 pass that he deflected, and he's got 2 forced fumbles. This is a guy that, especially if he adds a little bit of weight, can be a tweener and be a tackle, outside guy, or an edge rusher. What do you think?
I'm looking at this gentleman. I don't think he's played his best football. He's been kind of nicked up throughout his career at Georgia. Young man out of Columbus, Georgia. Some in the water in Columbus, because I know he comes from a very good town that's produced Tim Hudson, Frank Thomas, Sam Mitchell, Briston Buckner. They played at Clemson. Nate Odoms, they played at Wisconsin. What they call the Mars man. It was with the L.A. Raiders, Mr. Otis Sistrom. And, of course, you should know this gentleman, Harper, Mr. Dale McGee, head football coach at Georgia State. Yep. Very special people and very special athletes that came out of the area where this young man is from. He reminds me of a guy I saw play once at the University of Arkansas that went on and had a great career. Same type of height, same type of weight. Remind me of Leslie O'Neal. Great football player that came out of Oklahoma State and played for the San Diego Chargers. You're talking about a kid that's very versatile, quickness. That's what I like about quickness in him. But the thing about it, Harp, he's been injured. He's never really had a clear year when he's been in Georgia. But again, I'm going to say this. SEC championship game. House money in the house. You can make a lot of money and put yourself all the way up there in the first round, or you can take a step back and you're going to be falling out of the second round, and that money going to change. Back to you, Harp.
Yeah, I agree. Big game, not only at this level, but if Georgia makes it into the playoff, which everybody believes that they will, you're going to be spotlighted in a way that you haven't. Big players playing at big time. It's your time to shine, my friend, and we wish you the best. At 6'5", one of his weaknesses is he plays a little bit too high. And at 265, if he's going to move down and play in between the tackles as opposed to being against a tight end or an edge position, at 265, he's probably a little bit lighter. He doesn't manage very well against double teams. That's one of the criticisms against him because, again, he's not 285, 290. So his versatility is a strength in that you can move him inside or outside. But if you're going to leave him inside, he's kind of at a little bit of a weakness because he's about 10 or 15 pounds lighter than most of the other players at that caliber playing in the playoff would be a little bit bigger. So a couple things to work on in that respect, but still fantastic player. He's got all the tangibles, the height, the weight, the length, long arms. You know, if he learns a second move or a third move, it'll be gold to him. And he may be a first rounder. A good combine time, a great time visiting with some of the other folks, especially the doctors going, yeah, I was hurt a little bit, but I'm fine now. Let me show it to you. His versatility is one thing, his athleticism. He's got strong hands. He's very functional. He can do a lot of different things that help him be one of those top-level guys. Vincent, any final thoughts about Michael Williams and the University of Georgia defensive edge player?
Hey, man, big time. SEC championship game. Scouts all over the world going to be in the Dome. 2 schools, as you mentioned earlier in one of our other shows on one of our other podcasts, it's going to be like people going to be in there like sardines. Hey, man, it's time to show Mr. Williams, if you want that money, you want to keep your first round grade, you better bring your lunch pail because Texas and Kevin Banks are coming to play. Back to you, Hawk.
Yeah, be a great weekend for them to play against each other, two of the guys that we feature. But the third is Abdul Carter. He's an outside linebacker, an edge rusher from Penn State University. He's 6'3". He's 262 pounds. At least that's what he's been listed as. He was a first team All Big Ten in 2023, second team All American in 2023. Remember, that's a different list that he was on. And then 2022, he was also a second team Big Ten player. His instincts, his playmaking ability, all the multiple facets. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He can move, he can get around people, and he can bull rush through you with that 262-pound weight. Abdul Carter is the guy that is going to be, I think he's going to be rising very quickly on a short list of edge rushers.
Out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, when you think about Philadelphia, PA, I always think about great basketball players that came out of there like Will Chamberlain. But, man, he went to LaSalle High School, a very prestigious high school that produced Fran McCaffrey, who's the head basketball coach at Iowa, and Steve Jaffe, one of the top NBA officials in 20 years in the game. I love this player, Hawk. 6'3", 262, like you said, if he's 262. But when you look at him, you're looking at playmaking ability at another level. Outstanding in space. What I like about when they say outstanding in space, that means that he doesn't get beat a lot and don't get juked out of his shoes. Then you're looking at all the great defensive players that's played at Penn State, from Dave Robinson, LeVar Arrington, Shane Cochran, Jack Ham, and the gentleman they put in the first round last year, Chop Robinson. This kid right here is at the top of the list. And he reminds me of a kid that I saw play that played several years with the New York Giants, and you should know about him, Hawk. He got on the field sometimes. He stayed in and out of the lineup. But when I saw him at SMU, he was making plays like Mr. Carter, Mr. Brian Hunt. Reminds me a lot of Brian Hunt now. Same size, same length, and a guy that's smooth out there. But like I said, what I like about Mr. Carter is that he's like a chess piece along the line of scrimmage. And he's very outstanding in space and tackling. Back to you, Hawk.
He has 12 sacks in his previous 2 years at Penn State. He had 48 pressures. That means he gets close to the quarterback, but not enough to where there's another stat for him. You know, the ball got out. But this year, he's balling, taking advantage of the time, and I think it's great. He's got 54 tackles on the year. That means he's not afraid to get his nose dirty, if you know what I mean, in his uniform. But my goodness, 10 sacks. 63 yards lost on those sacks. He's deflected 3 passes, and he has 2 forced fumbles. He's playing. He's making a difference, and he's adding to his value. He's just adding money into his pocket by playing as well as he has. Maybe if he tightens down, goes from 262 to 255, and he gets his 40 time down to 4.6, 4.5, whatever it can be. Don't know what his 40 is, but if he lowers it and then gains that weight back in time for the draft, I think it'd be a great find for him, because if he proves he's faster than anybody, and he's already proven that he can get to the quarterback, the sky's the limit for this young man. So I think great things for him. In agreement with you, Vincent, there are some things that they say about him. His pass rush potential is off the charts. He has great instinct, which means he goes to get the ball and he gets it. He doesn't miss a lot. His ability to change direction and redirect is something that's way up high on the list as well. We'll see what his consistency is like. Pad level for everybody who plays a little bit too high. Yeah, well, when you get the NFL, no one's going to worry about that anymore if you get the quarterback. So those are some things that really stick out with me. But as much as anything, from where he's been, sitting on the bench kind of and just getting to play a little bit, to where he is a legitimate starter and first rounder, that's what impresses me most about Abdul Carter.
When you look at all 3 gentlemen that we talked about today, Mr. Carter, Mr. Williams, Mr. Banks, one thing, all these guys are high-level prospects that's going to be playing this weekend. So I'm going to be very curious and watching all 3 and see where they're going to take their game to the next level. I always want to see when players, when the spotlight is on you, when you're on Broadway, all eyes, that's how I judge a player. When you're playing against the best of competition, how good are you really are? How good Mr. Williams is going to be against Mr. Banks on Saturday over there in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. How good Mr. Carter is going to be against Oregon and Dylan Gabriel. That's how I judge greatness. And these three players right here that we did today, I'm very honored and proud, Harp, to do it with you, because now I'm getting chills in my body. I want to see them take it to the next level. It's going to be some great football with these three young men on the field, and national television is going to be watching them. Millions of viewers. Back to you, Harp.
Yeah, these guys have a chance to really make it for themselves. They've already shown that they can play. Now they're playing in the big games. And how they respond to that, if they're able to hold up against the best competition, that can only assist. They won't need to go to a blue-gray game or an east-west shrine game.
Yes, sir.
They're already proven, man. I left it out on the field and how they've been coached and how they can be corrected to where they get even better. That's the part that excites me as well. So you got three different gentlemen. You got Kelvin Banks, offensive lineman with the University of Texas. He wears number 78. Watch for him this weekend. Then you've got Michael Williams. He's number 13 with the University of Georgia. He's a defensive lineman, an edge rusher. And then with Penn State University, you've got Abdul Carter. He wears number 11, and he is one of the best edge rushers and defensive outside linebackers that's on the charts, that's on the table, that'll be around for this coming draft. So for Vincent Turner, for our producer, Logan Landers, I'm Harper LeBel. We want to say thank you for tuning in to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our Draft Prospects edition. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Have a fantastic day.